Brittany ghosted Brent. She was not feeling a 40-year-old man. And as for Steve and Montavious,
their rap flow was a no-go.
for Cool Modi,
Big Daddy Kane,
the Fat Boys,
and Grandmaster Flash,
it was a hell no.
Welcome to Cliff Alert. Today we're going to be talking about TV One's reality-based relationship series, The One, season number 1, episode number 2.
But before we get into it, please like, share, and subscribe. Please send us your comments. Please click that notification button so you know when we upload new content. This is a new series on TV One, and here we go. Ashley and Brent, they are trying to find the one with the help of Kurt and Tammy Franklin. Kurt and Tammy comes through and met with Brent and Ashley.
To find out where they're going on their dates this week?
Yes. And Brent is going axe throwing with his dates.
And Ashley is going to work out with her dates, put them to the test, shall we say.
Right. And Kurt thought that axe throwing was a little bit weird, but and dangerous based on the woman he's going to be dealing with.
Yeah, you might leave that date without something that you came with.
But Brent was up to the challenge. Ashley decided that she wanted to get her physical on, and they went to a gym for her dates to work out with her.
And she meets two gentlemen, right?
Yes, Montavious and Steve. He looked younger than 32.
Yep.
To me, he looked too young.
And her other selection was Montavious, who looked a little bit more older, established, and came off as being, well, shall we say, philosophical in his approach.
Yeah, Montavious reminded me of Oswald Bates. If you don't know who Oswald Bates is,
Watch Living Color.
Look it up.
Old.
But he had some characteristics like Oswald Bates. Ashley put them through the paces. She had them doing a lot of stuff. Montavious was breathing hard because he didn't realize that he would have to go through all these challenges.
Right, and Steve gave him a little nickname when he first rolled up on the set. He called him Protein Shake, didn't he?
Yeah, because Montavious is
kind of hooked up.
And you
know, Brent had his two dates show up too at this axe throwing thing, and it was kind of dangerous, shall we say?
Well, they both show up. Brittany is a nurse. She does labor and delivery, and she showed up. She was very pleasant. She's 32 years old and has never dated anyone above 35, so she may think that Brett may be too old for her.
Yeah.
And Richie is a chef. She is
from Nolans.
Yes.
Louisiana.
And she likes whipping up that good stuff.
That Cajun style, boy.
And
spicy stuff, huh?
He commented that he's allergic to shellfish. But I'm sure she could find some other thing to cook up for him in her arsenal if she comes out of Louisiana. Right. Brittany seemed more reserved than Richie. Richie seemed to be a little bit on that sexual side, just like Melissa. Brent clearly has a type. He likes his woman sexually aggressive, and he likes all the bits and pieces, the TNA, so to speak. And he commented that once he laid eyes on Richie, he was thrilled with the package. Tammy pulls Ashley aside and they discuss how she feels growing up in a home where her father was an alcoholic and the decision she has made in her relationships, in her dating life, based on how she grew up.
Kirk had a chance to meet with Brett and find out some things that he needs to maybe deal with ahead of, the continuation of this process.
Right.
And he says to Brent, hey, look, man, tell me about you and what your issues are as we move forward, because right now I haven't heard anything.
Right. And you don't want to take that forward because you're here to actually find the one.
Brent says, or Andrew reveals that he's a little afraid and he's a little apprehensive about being married again.
Kurt looked at him and said that, hey, that's well and good, but that sounds like you're capping. I need to get to that funky space that you have, that you're not allowing others to see. Tell me something about that space. And then Brent admitted that he is not sure whether he will be satisfied with one woman. And then Kurt said, "Aha, okay, well
I player, we'll deal with that.
Deal with that."
Part of their second date, both Ashley and Brent invite their dates back to the date house.
Yes, and they
For a
had
second.
a baker, and she created small cakes for them to all decorate. And this is when we find out that Brittany was a no show. They claimed that she neither showed up or called. She basically ghosted the process, and that was no good look on her end.
Not at all.
They decided to play a game, and the question Steve had to set it off was, when was the last time you had sex? Montavious said that he was on a fast. He didn't answer the question. He
Philosophical dodge.
Right, exactly. And Ashley revealed that she hasn't had sex for almost 3+ years, and based on her response, that she's really focusing herself on preparing herself and her body for the right person, because sometimes sex confuses anyone in a relationship
and complicates
and
matters.
complicates matters. So that's why she separated herself from the pack, so she could get a clearer view of what she actually needs. So she now attracts that person.
Yeah,
to
men
her.
and women think about sex differently
Right.
initially. Yeah.
Steve and Montavious are talking stuff, and Steve said something really inappropriate, that he wanted to get his hands on those her cheeks. It was disrespectful,
Yeah, I don't know
because he
what
said that in front of everyone,
I
and
don't.
it was inappropriate.
Yeah, I don't know what would have prompted him to think that that would be something to say to impress somebody he's only met for the second time.
Right. Well, she did say that he was drinking a lot of wine.
That's no excuse as far as I'm concerned, because the bottom line is this: if you're going to make your best impression, i.e., put your best foot forward, you might know, yourself, that you might like to taste and indulge in the spirits, but you know what? They don't know that. So if you put that out there from the very beginning, then be prepared to have that backfire on you, because you might say something when you're juiced up that you wouldn't say when you weren't.
Montavious decided that they're gonna go into a rap challenge, because Steve said that he wanted to rap to Ashley. He spat out some verses that he thought was good, and Montavious eventually
Yeah.
responded. Oswald Bates showed up and did what he had to do. As Kirk said, it was messy.
A hot mess.
And Kirk said that Cool Modi, the Fat Boys,
Grandmaster Flash,
and Big Daddy Kane would be insulted, would be offended by what he just heard and witnessed.
Kirk had it right. Trust and believe that.
It didn't seem like they were suitable for her, both of them.
Neither of them. Yeah.
So eventually, they separated, and Ashley pulled Steve aside and was talking to him.
A few minutes later,
Mm.
Montavious joins
The conversation and
right?
interrupts them. And Steve already feels a way about Montavious, and he
AKA
started
protein
clowning.
shake, right?
He started clowning him, called him what, Socrates
And Plato.
and Plato, and eventually just walked away. And Montavious' conversation was confusing. It was all about a philosophical stance that he had, and he wanted to let her know that he was in that place.
And
it
try to
just
enlighten her perspective about it as well.
and his spirit of enlightenment didn't go down very well with her.
Yeah, because she wanted to be someone who was witnessing,
Authentic.
yeah, and witnessing his authenticity as well.
And
But
he didn't reveal anything about himself. She said she asked several questions, and he didn't take the bait. He didn't tell her anything about himself.
Right. And she didn't take too kindly to that. She was not impressed by it and questioned,
She was able to read basically that he was all about the BS. Eventually, Kurt And Tammy came in, and Kurt commented about Steve's comments about wanting to grab Ashley's background. The question was asked if they could recall an embarrassing moment. And both Kurt and Tammy decided to share the story that they were on tour. They were in the tour bus. They felt frisky. They were having relations, and someone opened the door, and the person who opened the door was one of their moms. Kirk said that his mother told him that she was proud of him. Brent, of course, only has one person to choose. They invite back to the mansion. He told Richie she's the one. She's going to the mansion. It's gonna be on and popping in that house for Brent.
Yeah, basically what Kirk was saying is he got a type, don't he?
He got a type. Clearly,
Yeah,
he got a type.
he like the rump shakers. Too much?
He likes a woman with a particular set of assets. See how I said that? Do you see how I said that?
I got it. The guys have their own ways of saying things, so a little different. Maybe a little less, or a little bit more. What crass? Is it? No.
Got the rum shakers. Oh my God. Anyway, help us, Lord Jesus.
No, help Brent. He's the one. Help Brent. He's the one that got to break that pattern.
Anyway,
He the one that got to break that pattern because that's the pattern he's in right now.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Huh?
We all need help.
Huh?
But but in any event, for Ashley had to choose between Montavious and Steve.
Protein shake and
I,
juiced up,
I thought
aka
yeah, I thought she should have
she told juiced
a
up,
hard pass on both of them, but she said she's gonna give
juiced up.
Steve a chance.
What was interesting about that is that not only her confessional about how painful it was for her to grow up where her male role model, her father, was an alcoholic, but how she kind of tended to gravitate towards that in the form of Steve.
Yes.
That was, I guess, from my vantage point, a way of saying maybe even subconsciously we tend to gravitate to things that are familiar to us.
My prior marriage was an alcoholic because I was raised in a home where my father was an alcoholic. Some of us, when we're raised in that kind of household, we gravitate to the alcoholic, although we try to say that's not what we're gonna do. That's what ends up
Unconsciously,
happening unconsciously.
you do
And
that.
we watch our mothers sacrifice, and that's what we end up doing.
Right, but it was
So
just
it for me, it took me a good 13 years to be able to heal myself from that situation and think in a different way.
yeah, it was
Because if
just
you don't understand and correct that,
you're
you're going to continue the pattern over and over and over again.
yeah, it's a I guess a weird way of saying, there's an old adage that if you don't know your history, you're destined to repeat it.
Absolutely.
And that's what she, unconsciously did,
Hmm.
in choosing, at least on some level, to proceed in this process with somebody who reminded her in some ways of her father.
I didn't know myself well enough to understand that this person was not right for me. And it's after the fact, after divorce, and after learning how to love myself, I was able to not continue that
To
pattern
break it,
and to get
to
to a
break it
healthier place so that I can attract the right person.
at the top. I think it was courageous for her regarding the pain and they unintentionally, I will assume, inflicted upon their daughter,
Right.
based on the household and the things that she saw growing up as a kid.
Right, because back in the day, parents didn't know what we know now. They just operated on what they saw and
Which is what they saw.
what they inflicted on their children. But now we can find a better way and get professional help. That's what Tammy and Kirk was talking about. You could love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind, but He has created quite a few people who went to school, who are knowledgeable about how to fine tune those things that you have in you that's taking you the direction you don't want to go.
Yeah, it was a very interesting moment as far as I was concerned, and I think that from my vantage point, Ashley is well on her way to breaking that pattern if she continues down the road that she's going, because she's acknowledged it and she recognizes that change needs to be made. She's had a chance to vent and or discuss her pain and reveal her suffering as a result of it and how it has impacted her with her parents. And I think she's well on her way
And
of breaking that pattern.
And I think too that she is part of a sisterhood that's all over the world. That's where exactly where she is, who have been there, who have been healed from that situation, and they understand how she's flowing and the goodness that's getting ready to come into
Yeah,
her.
those who have been courageous enough to reveal it and talk about it in an open forum like she does, and those who haven't.
Yes, there's freedom in getting loose from a curse that has affected your family for generations. At
Hmm.
least that's what I believe. I hope this show catches fire because there's a lot of goodness to be gleaned from it.
Oh, it could be argued that by many people that Kirk is already on fire, and
He's
the
funny.
show as a result is on fire.
He is funny. The moment
Yeah.
he told me I want to get to that dirty drawer, so you told the brother, you capping man. You capping man. Fear. Let's talk about the real reason why you're 41 and not yet hooked up. I just hope people keep
Yeah,
watching.
basically what he says, stop playing, boy.
It's a good show.
Yeah,
And
young,
Kirk and Tammy, a fantastic combination. Particularly
great.
Kirk. He funny as no get out.
Oh, Tammy get hers in too now.
Yeah.
Don't think she ain't sleep.
Yeah.
She ain't sleep.
Did you hear when she said that red dress was coming to the house?
Hell yes.